Good morning, friends. Welcome. Glad you're here. And, well, it is Sunday morning. I'm glad you're here. Hey, welcome to everybody. Karen B., great to see you, my friend. Uh, and you know who else it was great to see? Rose, 777. Yes, she streamed several times last night. She had an endoscopy. She seems to be doing much better than the last time I talked to her. And of course, I was, so happy to see Rose. I'm like, Rose, help me with Poppycock Report. I've saved the sinking ship. And Karen's like, what? What do you mean sinking? I'm like, no. No, you're helping save it too. But yes, I'm always stepping in it. You know how it is because guys are dumb. We never learn. Hey, baby, do these pants make my butt look big? Baby, it ain't the pants. Oops. That's why I was single for a while. Hey, FTFF, welcome. Again, hey, welcome, everybody. I'm so glad that you're here. It's delightful to see you this morning, and we'll just zip right into it. You know what? I do want to say this. I'm so pleased to see you guys here, and I will say, the weight of the world does begin to weigh on you when your eyes are open and you see it. And of course, it's written in Ecclesiastes that the more wisdom, the more pain, and the more you see, the more it hurts because the world is an ugly place. Certainly can be sometimes. And I was pretty salty on Friday. I think both crunchy and salty. Yes, I was developing a new language called snarkasm, a combination of sarcasm and snark, or you can measure that as the distance, like a chasm, right? That's the snarkasm. That's the difference between my insult and their ability to understand it. But I was really getting them in. And then I spent, we had the stream yesterday morning, and it's such an amazing time spending time with you guys, and I realized how cathartic it is. For me, I think the stream yesterday was, again, it's a little bit unusual for unintended consequences, at least, in that typically that's, again, focused more on the awakening project, and it's various unintended consequences. And one of those, I think, is that I'm unable to separate completely, or even really at all, my observation of the world and the way that I see these things from my own personal experience, of course, as most people, but that also includes a very large part of that is my relationship with the Creator and how that plays out in the context of this world. And so, but it's also a topic of which people can get, it's very personal, right? And people often, they can tend to get crunchy themselves when you approach these topics, and especially if you feel like they're telling you that they're wrong, which is, again, we've been given these false dichotomies, right, in the modern world, that anyone who has a different viewpoint than you is then telling you that you're wrong and they're your enemy, and then you have to fight it out to see which belief system wins, most of which are usually wrong because I always reserve the right to be completely wrong about everything. But I mean, it's just the way I see it, and it would be difficult for somebody to try to convince me of something other than my experience, right? That just wouldn't work. So anyway, it was, I share these things often with the intention of being helpful or to, again, share my view of it and hope that it would help others. But certainly for yesterday, it was extremely cathartic for me. It lifted my spirits in ways that kind of difficult to express. I'm a whole new man today. So for that, I thank you. It's terrific. We are, let's see, it's the 31st of January, and I knew that we'd get here sometime. I mean, what are the odds? You've got 31 chapters of the book of Proverbs, and that is kind of the point of this program, or at least initially it was, right? Is if you are unfamiliar with Scripture and you're interested in kind of poking around, looking, where's a great place to start? I often recommend to people to take a look at Proverbs because there's an amazing amount of wisdom there. Just awesome insights into the nature of mankind and who and what he is, where we are, our Creator, his relationships with each other and our Creator. It's good stuff. And there are 31 chapters in the book of Proverbs, and there are 31 days in a month. And so I often recommend to people take, each day, wake up early and read the chapter that corresponds with the day. Do that for 3 months and see if it doesn't kind of just find its way into you. It's a pretty interesting process. And hey, money back guarantee. 100%. If you're not 100% satisfied, you get your entire purchase price back. So there's that. Anyway, I knew that we would get 31 days. The way I do these on Sunday. So what are the odds that we would pull the handle and wind up with the 31st? And you wonder why I'm talking about this is because the 31st chapter of Proverbs specifically deals with in Christian circles they call it the Proverbs 31 woman. It is the description of a godly woman, and as such, you probably can understand, especially again in the modern world, modern sensibilities in the social justice tribe that tends to find problems with just about everything, that they're going to pitch this to the side and condemn it as a patriarchy kind of thing, and reinforcing tired stereotypes. Now, I don't know about any of that. I do know that it just, there's a description, of course, of godly people and godly men, and this is specific to a godly woman. It certainly is indicative of the sensibilities of the time in terms of how they were seen in society, that sort of stuff. There's no question about it. But one of the things that especially as people often do, as I mentioned yesterday, there's there's a certain group of people who they say that they don't believe in a creator, and yet they spend a great deal of time and energy focusing a lot of hatred at something they say they don't believe in. It's pretty remarkable. But they do also, we'll take a look at Scripture and find ways to flip it around, turn it upside down, and make it be something. To say something it doesn't. Oh dear. I'm sorry, I got distracted for a moment reading something in chat and then lost my train of thought, and now I'll never get back. But they people, again, they have a tendency to, they see things, and certainly they see, especially in the Old Testament, rules for men and women, and they'll say how horrible this is, and it's just oh my gosh, look at the misogyny that's going on here. And yet, when you take a look at it in the context of when it occurred and what else was going on, right? When you line the things up, what's happening culturally between different cultures at that period of time, what you actually find is that the fact that there even were rules for men and women, and you find numerous protections for women, for example, that there are punishments for men for rape and that sort of stuff, that was entirely novel for that world, that there would be any, it was just like, for many peoples, it was just catch as catch can, and you do whatever you want. So the fact that they had a lawful society at all was just very advanced, and that there were protections and rights for women was just in some ways a slap in the face to other cultures, some of whom not only were dismissive of, but openly antagonistic toward women. So, for what it's worth, as compared to modern sensibilities, does it seem, certainly dated and a little kind of, not with the times? Absolutely, yeah. But again, when you compare to what was happening around it, very far advanced and very forward-looking. So again, many things are helpful to look at it in context. Not trying to make apologetics, just better understand what we're looking at here. And again, so I ask in advance. I'm just reading this, and you do eat the meat, throw away the bones, do with it what you will, but please don't anybody get their panties all tight, and once they're watered up, and then throw them at me. I'm good. Give me a minute here. I got some coffee I can need to drink. Mm-hmm. She is good. Alrighty then. And I also want to share with you this morning, we'll do some Psalms as well, because, again, I've been digging into Psalms, and I just find stuff that's appropriate for the time, and it strikes me. So if you don't mind, I'll share it with you as well. Let's do this. We'll take a hit of Proverbs 31. This will be from the New International Version. And this is the sayings of King Lemuel, an inspired utterance his mother taught him. Listen, my son. Listen, son of my womb. Listen, my son, the answer to my prayers. Do not spend your strength on women, your vigor on those who ruin kings. It's not for kings, Lemuel. It's not for kings to drink wine. It's not for rulers to crave beer, lest they drink and forget what has been decreed, and deprive all the oppressed of their rights. Let beer be for those who are perishing, and wine for those who are in anguish. Let them drink and forget their poverty, and remember their misery no more. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly, and defend the rights of the poor and the needy. A wife of noble character who can find? She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. She's like the merchant ships bringing her food from afar. She gets up while it is still night. She provides food for her family and portions for her female servants. She considers a field and buys it, and out of her earnings she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her tasks. She sees that her trading is profitable, and her lamp does not go out at night. In her hands she holds the distaff and grasps the spindle with her fingers. She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. She makes coverings for her bed. She is clothed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes his seat among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies the merchants with sashes. She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household, and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children arise and call her blessed, and her husband also, and he praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive, and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. So, again, it's I'd do her. No, I'm just saying. No, it sounds like a worthy woman, and someone that I'd want to be involved in. And this is the, two pieces of advice that I gave to my kids as they were looking to begin their romantic relationships, especially my daughter, who was the eldest of my kids. I said, first thing is ignore everything that they say. Ignore it entirely. Look only at what they do, and that will tell you all you need to know, especially when you go on a date, and watch how they treat the waitstaff. Give somebody a position of power and see how they treat those who serve them. And if they are kind, you've got something. If they are rude, run away. right? But ignore everything that they tell you and look only at what they do. You will learn all that you need to know. Right? And other, admonition is, very much like it, which is whatever value of person you're looking for, the caliber of person that you hope to find to be your partner. It is important then that you become equally as valuable to them. And so whatever you think that, whatever qualities you are hoping to find in another, you owe it to that person to be at least that good to them, right? Otherwise, it's a poor trade and you're robbing from them. Whatever, you're gonna draw whatever you're like. So that's there you go. There's my relationship advice for the day. There's Baldini's dating advice for the lovelorn. All right. So there you have that. Let's see what else we got. All right. I did want to throw down some Psalms this morning because I have been taking a look, as I have mentioned, in the book of Psalms. It has been of great encouragement to me. And also, I find fascinating some of the stuff, how prescient it is in terms of comparison to, again, the state we find ourselves in now, as well as, again, it was just remarkable to me revisiting this, how much of the words of Jesus were direct quotes or very close paraphrases of Psalms. I mean, really, more than half of the words of Jesus were a direct quote of the psalmist. Fascinating. And so if you find yourself in moments of trials or uncertainty, myself and many others have found it to be true that it's true what they say, that this book is called the living Word of God. It does really seem to just speak to you, especially when you are listening and when you are attuned to the frequency. You tune your antenna to the frequency of Dad. I think you will find it amazing how much it will, and just remarkably, it just speaks straight to you. But again, I'll share a couple of pieces here from the book of Psalms. I'll begin Psalm 40. I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see and fear the Lord and put their trust in Him. Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord and who does not look to the proud, to those who turn aside the false gods. Many, Lord my God, are the wonders you have done, the things you have planned for us. None can compare with you. Were I to speak and tell of your deeds, they would be too many to declare. Sacrifice and offering you do not desire, but my ears you have opened. Burnt offerings and sin offerings you do not require. Then I said, Here I am. I have come. It is written about me in the scroll. I desire to do your will, my God. Your law is written within my heart. I proclaim your saving acts in the great assembly. I do not seal my lips, Lord, as you know. I do not hide your righteousness in my heart. I speak of your faithfulness and your saving help. I do not conceal your love and your faithfulness from the great assembly. Do not withhold your mercy from me, O God. May your love and your faithfulness always protect me, for troubles without number surround me. My sins have overtaken me, and I cannot see. They are more than the hairs of my head, and my heart fails within me. Be pleased to save me, God. Come quickly. Help me. May all who want to take my life be put to shame and confusion. May all who desire my ruin be turned back in disgrace. May those who say to me, "Aha, aha," be appalled at their own shame. But may all who seek you rejoice and be glad in you. May those who long for your saving help always say, "The Lord is great." But as for me, I am poor and needy. May the Lord think of me. You are my help and my deliverer. You are my God. Do not delay. Psalm 40. And I'll move now to Psalm 140. Just going to jump ahead. I find this one again similar in tone, and yet, we said last week that there's a way, in fact, that even the Scripture said it well before I did. Fuck the fucking fuckers. As David calls down retribution on his enemies. Again, be angry, but sin not. But it certainly is understandable when you are surrounded by those of poor quality who desire a poor outcome for your life. It can be exasperating. Psalm 140. Rescue me, Lord, from the evildoers. Protect me from the violent, who devise evil plans in their hearts and stir up war every day. They make their tongues as sharp as a serpent's. The poison of vipers is in their lips. Keep me safe, Lord, from the hands of the wicked. Protect me from the violent, who devise ways to trip my feet. The arrogant have hidden a snare for me. They've spread out the cords of their net and have set traps for me along my path. And I say to the Lord, "You are my God. Hear, Lord, my cry for mercy. Sovereign Lord, my strong deliverer, you shield my head in the day of battle. Do not grant the wicked their desires, Lord. Do not let their plans succeed. Those who surround me proudly rear their heads. May the mischief of their lips engulf them. May burning coals fall on them. May they be thrown into the fire, into miry pits, never to rise. May slanderers not be established in the land. May disaster hunt down the violent. I know that the Lord secures justice for the poor and upholds the cause of the needy. Surely the righteous will praise your name, and the upright will live in your presence. Psalm 140. In that certainly that section, Psalm 135, 132, I think, through 160, there's a lot going on there. A lot of similar stuff where David is calling out help from the Lord. Psalm 143. Lord, hear my prayer. Listen to my cry for mercy. Your faithfulness and righteousness come to me in my relief. Do not bring your servant into judgment, for no one living is righteous before you. The enemy pursues me. He crushes me to the ground. He makes me dwell in the darkness like those long dead. So my spirit grows faint within me. My heart within me is dismayed. I remember the days of long ago. I meditate on all your works and consider what your hands have done. I spread out my hands to you, and I thirst for you like a parched land. Answer me quickly, Lord. My spirit falls. Do not hide your face from me, or I will be like those who go down to the pit. Let the morning bring me word of your unfailing love, for I've put my trust in you. Show me the way I should go, for to you I entrust my life. Rescue me from my enemies, Lord, for I hide myself in you. Teach me to do your will, for you are my God. May your good spirit lead me on level ground. For your name's sake, Lord, preserve my life. In your righteousness, bring me out of trouble. In your unfailing love, silence my enemies. Destroy all my foes. For I am your servant. Psalm 143. I suspect in the coming days and months, as we see more of the same from the powers that be, the PIC, people in charge, powers that ought not be, they seem to be, again, not pulling back from the brinksmanship, but continuing at full bore toward their new world disorder and their great reset. Again, I suspect as they continue to draw a direct line, falsely, between those of us who simply seek the truth about who we are, where we come from. And they call us now domestic terrorists, and that we are preventing the next evolution of mankind. I suspect that in the coming weeks and months that we will be turning more and more to the words of the psalmist, perhaps the words of Job, as a reminder that God is with those who seek Him, and He has all of us in His hand. We needn't worry. In fact, we're told very specifically for those who do follow Him, He tells us very specifically that it's not going to be not only not easy, but they hated Him, they'll hate us as well. In this world, you'll have trouble. He promised us that. But He also said He would never leave us or forsake us. We are promised, even in the book of Revelation, that there will be many martyrs. I know that there are a number of folks who believe in a pre-tribulation rapture, that they will be able to escape any such fate. But ultimately, from my point of view, is there any greater service to Dad than to follow Him and to drink of the same cup? Not something I was like looking for, like, woo, pick me, right? But He did say, count it all joy, right? When these things happen to you, because you're doing it in my name. And so great is your reward. I wouldn't do it for a reward, but it's like, again, what does it profit a man should he gain the whole world but lose his soul? So, no problem, right? And so those things don't concern me. I have no fear of man in that regard. The only concern that I have is that I would misstep, right, or not hear correctly what I should do. But for now, it seems that what I should do is to continue to do as I can to help facilitate a growing community of people, like-minded people who are seeking the truth and who do not consent to the heinous fuckery, most foul, that is being pressed upon us at this time. And so we want to just simply be left alone for as long as we can. And from my perspective, it is with the understanding that it may not be long, but for as long as we can, we just like to be left alone, just to do things ourselves. And we don't wish to participate in your nonsense. We'll see how it goes, but that's what I feel I ought to do right now. It seems that there is, again, I take it that there's the promise from Dad that if He gives the vision, it's the provision as well. So off we go. And if anybody wants to come, let me know, and we'll see what we can do to make this all work out. I think we'll be just fine. All right, so there we go. That's what I have for you this morning. Again, the Proverbs 31 woman, if you have not heard that before, and Psalm 140 and 40. And little 143 is a bonus. So with that, I'll be back this evening at 5 p.m. Pacific Time, 8 p.m. on the East Coast, with Wayne McCrory Jr. of Alchemical Tech Revolution, as we take a look at more goodies in Scripture. Well, don't know exactly where we'll head today. I'm sure it will be very interesting, as it always is. Wayne is a brilliant philosopher and well-informed, excellent takes on many of these things, as well as, again, just the other stuff within our truth community. If you haven't checked out his books, you ought to. He's a brilliant mind and a servant of the King. So there you go. Again, so thankful for each and every one of you. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention again that send your virtual card. Now, spare thought, a prayer today for Rose 777. She contacted me in the middle of the night, the other night, night before last, that she was headed to the hospital. And first, don't tell anybody, because she really badly didn't want to go. But then she did live stream, tell everybody what was going on, and that she, she has been struggling for some time with some health issues. As have I, not the same one, I think. But I know she had a kidney infection, and in taking care of that, she got some antibiotics, and then that messed up her gut biome, created some GI issues. And that caused her then to seek medical attention in the hospital, which did require, much to her chagrin, that she had to wear a mask for just a little bit to get in. And they did give her a test, although it was a cheek and not a throat or nasal test. So anyway, you can check out, she did some live streams, check out her channel, Rose 777 channel, and get caught up. But she seemed so much better last night than she did the last few days prior when I've been speaking to her. So go Rose, we love you, and just continue to keep her in your thoughts and prayers, as well as so many others in our community that are struggling with both emotional issues and isolation, and family members, as well as those going through physical stuff. I know Brian Jackson, his beloved, is going through it, and again, I missed a call the other day because I'm going through it, because I've been struggling with some health issues as well, and just can't figure quite it out yet. Can't figure what? I can't even talk right now. Can't get it all figured out yet, but we'll hopefully we will, and that we'll all be fine. So again, much love to each of you. I'm so just so thankful for each and every one of you and being part of this community, and I can't wait to see what happens next. It is it's exciting, right? Best apocalypse ever. I almost couldn't imagine, since really my youth, began studying eschatology and got used to the idea that, we might be coming into the last days. And of course, I grew up as a child, as a kid within the Seventh-day Adventist Church, who part of their teachings, right, that we are in the last days. Adventist means return, Advent, right? So this Adventist, right, they're looking for the second coming of Jesus. Of course, they have I would say, largely erroneous view of the way Revelation plays out. They put much of it in historical context, which, anyway, without getting too much into all that, but I grew up with this idea that it might be very close, and so I was very expectant for it. And then after, some time, you start to learn a little bit more. It's like, well, they've been saying these things for a long time. I never gave up hope, but it does seem like the whole thing moves at a glacial pace. And saw that. So it's like, okay, settle back and just observe, just watch. But now we've come to, wow, it does seem like, something, some, cog in the machine slipped a gear, and man, we're going helter-skelter toward the end. So it does seem like it may be within our lifetimes, and maybe even within the next few years, we will see events unfold that would be really remarkable. So, we'll see what happens. I'm always very reticent to make any kind of predictions, but I just will say keep your eyes peeled. And but it does seem, again, like the best thing to do right now is to stay together, get to know each other better, circle the wagons, and enjoy the ride. So here we are, and I choose you guys on my team. You guys are the fucking best. Fuck the fucking fuckers. And this is the team I choose to go through this with. So if we're picking teams for the apocalypse, I get you guys. So if you'll have me. All right. We'll see you again this evening, I hope, at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. on the West Coast, 7 p.m. Central, for Sola Scriptura with Wayne McCrory Jr. Trying to find some tunes to drop you out with. I got a really nice comment an email, somebody asking if they could buy some of the music that Joe and I put together a long time ago. And I would love to. I'd love to do that. It is our intention, and has been for some time, to properly record some of those songs. There were more than 100 songs that Joe and I, along with Jim Rogers, put together in the late 80s and early 1990s. That we had hoped to, as everybody does, we wanted to be rock stars, but it was about more than that. We were trying to say something. And then we lost Jim, unfortunately, and things kind of got put on hold for decades now. But it never really recorded more than just the 4-song kind of demo thing, the old stuff, and then revived some of the songs for, I recorded those basically as rehearsal tracks for a band to showcase some of those songs in the early 2000s. And that's it. That's all that we have. So I have considered, putting... when I launched the Patreon thing, making that available if somebody just wants to download those versions, because that's all I really have. But it is our intention, Joe and I, to get together and properly record some of those and give them the treatment that we feel like they deserve. And there's a wide variety, not just kind of the rock stuff, but there's a number of acoustic songs that we did, even a couple of more orchestral, kind of things. So it'd be interesting stuff, and a lot of different varieties of things that we did. But gonna want to work on that. But first things first, we're gonna I guess find a new place for the Casa de Baldini, right in the middle of the poppy cult. That's for you troller coasters, right? So you can say they're gonna start a cult. Yeah, well, cult simply, I guess, means that devotion, absolute devotion to a principle, a cause, an idea. I'll take that, right? Anyway, so there's that. Anyway, really kind words, and they just said that they liked a couple of the songs, so I'll play one of those specifically. It's called "Streams in the Desert," and let's see, this one, if I can figure out this one here, "Streams in the Desert." This was done, I'm going to say 1993 was that it was written, and like so many others, this is one that Joe and I just sat down and wrote, I think in about 45 minutes. Joe sat down and presented some guitar lines in an acoustic format. I scratched a couple of lines down, and then said, hey, keep playing that, repeat, lather, rinse, repeat, and within about 45 minutes or an hour, we had the basic format worked out and some harmonies already going, and by the end of the evening, when Jim got back from work, we had it pretty well laid out. So this was called Streams in the Desert. I hope you enjoy it. And all the contact information, ways to reach out are in the show notes, I think. I'll see you back this evening, and you guys have a great day. And, fuck the fucking fuckers. All right, guys, take care. Much love to each of you.